Bienvenidos a el Chuco Sportscast con tus anfitriones Mark Tep 25 y Red MT 25. ¿Qué pasó, mi gente? Es Mark Tep 25 otra vez. Bienvenidos a un otro episodio de el Chuco Sportscast. Soy Mark Tep 25 y este es mi hermano Mario. ¿Qué pasó, Mario?
Nada más, pero tranquilo.
Todo tranquilito. Y otra vez tenemos un invitado, se llama Nate Oots, también
Hey,
conocido como The Boul Nate. ¿Qué pasó, Nate? How you doing, my guy?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm definitely glad to finally be on the podcast. Been watching this for a good while now, so definitely glad to be on it. So
Glad to hear that, man. We're glad to have you. So just tell us a slight bit about yourself before we kind of get into a few articles, and then we'll continue to talk more about you, man.
cool. Let's see. Okay, so I'm originally from Philadelphia. Actually, I moved down to Maryland back in 2018, mainly for work. So I've pretty much been down here ever since. My YouTube channel I started back in May 2019, I want to say, and I've been doing that ever since. I've been uploading much more recently, um, yeah, I've been just doing YouTube for like past couple of years. Hopefully, I can eventually make that a full time, but I'm still kind of ways away from that. But besides that, definitely big into sports. Since I'm from Philly, I love all the Philly teams: Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, Eagles. So yeah, just definitely a big sports fan. Definitely been enjoying the playoffs. Well, at times been enjoying the playoffs, but yeah. Besides that, just doing things. So that's about
Yeah,
it, really.
yeah, man. And this guy has been doing really good work on YouTube, man. He's almost to another threshold, and we're hoping that he continues on that route, man, because he's doing some good shit, man. And we'll talk a little bit more about his content in a minute. But Mario, we have a few like things to talk about first off. We had a couple of articles that you were kind of sharing with me over the week. What kind of did you want to say?
well, of course, for those that did not know, for our Mavericks, there's been a lot of how do we put it? A lot of events going on, if you will. So we know that GM Donnie Nelson is gone and no longer there, and I don't know if it had something to do with it, but Rick Carlisle has stepped down as coach for the Mavericks. So we have two big vacancies to fill here, which, to be honest, I mean, none of us expected that to come about because Rick had 2 more years in his contract. But I don't know if it has something to do with Donnie Nelson leaving because Donnie Nelson is the biggest reason why Rick Carlisle came to Dallas in the first place. And so, like I said, it could have something to do with it, but we don't know. It's very unclear. And I don't know I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know what to really make of this. This was because of that because we got to also give Nelson credit. He's the one biggest reason why we have Luka Doncic. He's known Luka since apparently Luka said since he was little. So this is a big. I guess you can say it's a shock because I just didn't see this happening anytime soon. But maybe it's just time for the change as far as who's leading the front office in Dallas. After over 10 years now,
Yeah,
since we
28 years for Donnie. Yeah.
it's been 20. Yes, it's been almost 30 years for him, but it's been about 10 years since we last won a title. So it's been, you know, pretty. I guess you could say stagnant since then. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's been a lot of things where we're like, what is he thinking with some of the moves that he's made throughout his career here? But I will give him credit. He found Dirk when he did. He got Carlisle, he got Doncic. I know he made some other good moves, but there's been a lot of moves that were like, really, especially with Dirk's last few years in the NBA when he just couldn't just put a team around him as he was getting older. Now, well, I guess the writing was on the wall, and then that was it for him. But yeah, I just didn't see Carlisle leaving because before the after the end of the after the end of the game they lost, Cuban made it clear. It's like, no, Rick's not going anywhere, and Rick made it clear himself that he wasn't going anywhere either. But maybe something happened between then, and that was that. So it's I guess it's a little bittersweet because I do have a lot of respect for him because he did get us our first title, but since then um, it's been a little it's like they plateaued and then that was it. So um I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, so there's been some articles. Let me see if I can share them with you. Now, as far as to replace Donnie Nelson as GM, there's been a lot of rumors floating around for potential candidates. Let me see if I can share. And here, can you guys see it?
Yeah.
All right. So here, the Bleacher Report put this out 2 days ago, saying a potentially, probably Michael Finley as candidate to replace Donnie Nelson. Former Maverick, uh, great player that we grew up watching. But Mark and I have been talking about this, just to see, what our thoughts were about this, and we didn't think it was as far as former players. I mean, I have no qualms with former players trying to help, but I don't know. We don't know if Finley is a good fit as GM for the Mavericks. I know. What you want to share your thoughts on that, Mark? What we were discussing earlier.
Well, I mean, just this is just me, and again, it's. I mean, of course, I thank Donnie Nelson for his time here. I thank Rick, and granted, yes, I've been on the kind of the bandwagon of firing them this past year, but I don't know, within good reason though. Like it's like you said, they've plateaued. So there needed to be a change of the guard, a change of culture. To because I think what it is that they need more grit. And yes, analytics are great, but I think they were too focused on that and not really just playing.
Like
And
as far as when you mean by that, like as far as like results as in winning, correct? Compared to
yes,
results as in winning, yeah.
and
Mm,
and, and that's the thing. Rick, he is a great coach. I'm never gonna take that away from him. Obviously, he's there's nobody denying that. But there are sometimes his rotations get a little bit strange, and it just throws things out of whack. And granted, you can argue, oh, well, that's the personnel he has. He gets the most out of his personnel, and that's all well and good. But sometimes it is really on him, and there are times he's made mistakes in the playoffs, and he's also butted heads with his own players just because he is personally stubborn. Let's not forget he had an issue with Rondo, and according to Tim McMahon, he was seemingly having some issues with Luka too. Um, Tim McMahon is a little bit more trustworthy with the Dallas media, so and even Tim Cato was saying there was like some friction within the front office as well. But I think that's just the thing. Rick is very stubborn, so he's definitely gonna want the way he wants to run it. And granted, whether this story is true or not, there was something that Tim McMahon said about Luca kind of yelling at Rick, and this was in reference to Bob Vulgaris, who's some other like analytics guy in the front office. I don't know if he's president of operations, but I know I don't know his position because I really don't know much about that guy. But he's apparently kind of an asshole, and hopefully they let him go because his contract is up soon. But apparently Luca was like to Rick at one point. He's like, who's running this, you or Bob? And I'm like, wow, if that's really what was said, that's kind of crazy. Because I don't expect Luca to be that kind of guy. And you know what? It could have been one of those things that was like a heat of the moment deal.
yeah, it could have been just out of frustration that he said that, but you know, he could bring up a good point about who's really running the show. I don't know. He
And
may have
hopefully, yeah.
he may have some merit to that, but it could have been out of frustration because sometimes, like you said, Rick can be stubborn, and we've seen it. So
But in the end, I wish all the best to Rick Carlisle. I know I've been on the firing him train, but it's just it's nothing really personal. It's the fact that we just need something different. and I wish him the best.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I know we were discussing about him possibly being fired, but he left on his own accord. I just guess maybe he realized, yeah, maybe my time is up here, and some things were changing. So yeah, I mean, wherever he goes, I know he's gonna be able to do well no matter what. So yeah, God bless you, Rick, and I wish you all the best whichever team you land on with. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as but going back, heading back to as far as GMs are concerned. Sorry, what are your thoughts about them floating the idea of Michael Finley possibly replacing Donnie Nelson as GM in Dallas?
Because I mean, here's the thing: I like Michael Finley. I liked him when he was a player in Dallas. I didn't so much like him when he won a championship with the Spurs. But be that as it may, Michael Finley has been kind of under the tutelage of Nelson. So it's just like one of those things. It's like, yeah, he's a different person, but he's still from the organization. Sometimes you have to branch out and bring something different. You know what I mean? And it's of no disrespect to Michael Finley, but there has to be a better mindset. And I feel if we go with Michael Finley, we're just settling. Because there's plenty of other GMs that were thrown around, and I've spoken on Greenroom with other people and also listened to what other people have been saying. Like ideas could be like Shane Battier, Danny Ainge, and some people have even thrown around Jerry West. One of the ones that's really out there though is Masai Ujiri. Like it's a huge pipe dream if we get him. Like if Mark Cuban can somehow manage to like throw a bag at a Ujiri and just get him here, that would be astronomically in our favor. But I don't see it actually happening. Again, it's a pipe dream. So those are ideas. I think the more logical options, and again, I'm gonna say what I say, and people are gonna agree, but that's just life, right? Um, it would either be between Danny Ainge or Shane Battier, and I think Shane Battier would probably be more realistic. The only problem is, though, the only fear is he may be kind of on the wings for a job with the Miami Heat, and that's kind of the issue. So we're kind of figuring that stuff out. And if anything, like I would not mind if they got Shane Battier. I would. It would be awesome if we could somehow land either Ainge or West, because I think West would even be amazing too. Ainge, though, the only problem with Ainge is the way he kind of has dealt with players in the Celtics organization the past few years. So that's kind of just the only red flag I have. But at the same time, he has experience and he has made good moves and he has made that Celtics team very successful to this point. And granted, you could say, well, his biggest mistake was not trading for Miles Turner when he had the chance, which, yeah, that is a very huge mistake. But at
Right.
the same time, at least within the past few years, Ainge has made the Celtics competitive. Like they at least make the conference finals. The only reason they didn't do it this year was because Brown was injured. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Brown was injured, and and granted, even if they had Brown, I don't think they would have gotten past this Nets team.
Right.
It's just it's hard. It's the freaking like super team Nets.
Yep.
So
Right.
I mean, so I wouldn't count that as like a failure in that regard because that's hard. I wouldn't expect that on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everything's still up in the air. But here, just for everyone to see, I was able to find a list of other possible candidates and some that you've already mentioned. This is from Sportsnot, saying about the possible best candidates for to replace Donnie Nelson. So, like I said, of course, here it shows Mike Finley, his current favorite. But my thoughts are with Finley. I really liked him. I respect him. He's a phenomenal player. But is he GM material? That's the biggest question. I don't know. I don't think he's ever done a job like this before. So that would be my biggest question mark.
Well, I
Is he
mean,
fit for it?
he has worked with Nelson. It's just the only problem is does he fit the mold, or is he going to be like more of the same? It's like putting a guy again in the same regime at the head. So
Right,
that's just the fear in my mind.
right. It's
I
like it's
could be
yeah.
wrong, but I don't
Right,
know.
I know. I mean, it says he understands the franchise. I mean, of course, he played there most of his career. It's just, however, stepping into the role and executing the duties of a general manager, that's going to be the biggest thing that we need to see from him. And of course, the next one you said was Masai Ujiri, who is very, I would say he's more than qualified for the job, as we were discussing. So the question would be, is the price right for him to come down here, depending on how much he's willing to, how much he I guess, how it depends what how much Cuban is willing to pay him and what he's asking to be paid. So we'll see about that. Another one that they mentioned was Mike Zarn from Boston. I don't know if you
Mm.
mentioned him before, but
Yeah, there were some other people that were mentioning him, and that wouldn't be a bad idea. I guess because it's not Danny Ainge, but at least it's a guy that was also helpful within that organization, making them successful. So that wouldn't be a bad move. It's just overall trying to figure out that whole situation. And then like as far as Masai Ujiri, I'm trying to figure out something because there's a guy that I there's a guy that I follow on Twitter and well, sorry, Greenroom now is Esfandiar Baraheni. He is he's very much in tune with the Raptors front office and all this stuff. Like he follows the Raptors pretty religiously. He's from Toronto, I believe, and he pretty much put it this way: if for the chances for the Mavs, it wouldn't be entirely. I mean, it's a possibility if like Ujiri gets like a partial stake within the organization, at least like like shares within the company itself. Like if Mark Cuban is willing to step back a little bit and kind of give some power to Masai Ujiri, then I think they could be a possibility. However, it's really a point of does he want to come to Texas or not? Which I don't know. Like you don't have property. I'm not property. You don't have state taxes here, so I don't know. It could be something in his favor. But again, it with Masai, it's a pipe dream. So I'm not expecting it. I'll be freaking ecstatic if we get him, but it's a pipe dream.
well, if I were Cuban, I'd try to make some moves, big moves, because hey, if you want this franchise to win another title, get the people that are really great at finding the talent and the players that will help this team succeed and win. Especially since you have a player like Luca, who can possibly find the right pieces to put around him. So we'll see. There's still a lot of things up in the air, and of course, you said
Shane
Shane
Battier.
Battier, which you know I haven't seen Shane Battier or heard about him ever since he retired. After winning a few championships with the Heat, but I had no idea he became GM uh, for the. What does it say? He was GM for. Did you say the Heat? Right?
Well,
I can't.
he was looking for to be like getting a role with the Miami Heat, but I think he was working within the front office of the Grizzlies as of late.
Oh, that's right. Okay. And how the Grizzlies did this year
Actually, go down, dude,
was
so
really
we can
good.
read his stuff.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, no, he has been with Miami, but I think he's looking to take on a bigger role. So yeah, he joined the front office as director of basketball development and analytics.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and Miami is a well-run organization. It's world class. I mean, freaking Pat Riley. You, I mean, how can you go wrong with a guy that's worked with Pat Riley?
You can't, man. Not ever since he went from went taking took Miami from winning their first championship in '06, and then you know going up the rank to GM. He's made the Heat a contender for the
He's just
last you know over 15 years. So
Yeah,
hey,
dude. He's a smart individual, dude. Like Pat Riley is world class.
yeah. So those are just a few. I know there was other candidates, but these are like the main guys that they were mentioning to possibly fill the role for GM of Dallas. So yeah, I don't know, Nate. Well, do you have any thoughts or input about this situation? I don't know if you've kept up with that, but
Well, like, pretty much GM wise, I wasn't really sure like what the candidates. I know Michael Finley has been in like the Mavericks front office for a while, but pretty much like from like what Mark was saying. Also, I know like an article at the bottom of the paragraph it said like since Finley's kind of been in the with the previous regime, it might hurt their chances of getting the GM spot. So I'm like that makes sense because obviously Donnie Nelson kind of got was fired, so it's kind of like he's gonna have like the same things. He's gonna kind of make the same similar decisions as Donnie Nelson, so it's kind of like that. Um, Masai Jerry will be phenomenal if y'all could like snag him, but it depends on if he wants to join the team and then how much money he probably gonna command. But I'm like, if I'm Mark Cuban, I'm throwing him all the money to try to
And
just
giving him a
kind of like,
stake in the company, dude. Like that's what people have been saying. Like he wants some partial ownership, and
oh
ooh,
I'd fucking give it if that was
that
what it took. I'd
that's
fucking give it.
yeah, that's
ooh, I didn't know that.
from Cuban being the sole owner of the Mavericks for Ujiri to ask for a stake in the franchise, that's yeah, you know, Cuban's got to be willing to give a little bit of that if he wants someone like Ujiri to come down here. So I don't. But the question is Mark willing to do that? That is the
Yeah,
biggest thing because he's owned the Mavericks for 21 years. He bought the team in 2000, correct?
Something of that
yes,
nature. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like his thing. I know he's an entrepreneur, but it's like that's been his, I guess, his baby for 20 years. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you look at the history since Mark bought the team, he's taken that team to 50 plus win seasons for the long, since for a 10-year, 11-year stretch. I know at post the championship, there was the first time since then that they fell below 500 for a time. But, you look at that span of the 2000s up until the championship, he had 50 plus win seasons, back to back to back to back to back. It's like, wow. So he's turned that team around ever since he bought it. But, now you want to go to the next level, 21 years in. So you got to be willing to dish out a little extra cash for this guy. I'd say he should go for it, but
Yeah.
that's all
And
up to him.
and again, it's
Anyway,
it's just in the end because he also hired a firm, so it's like, is he gonna pretty much if they don't get anything spectacular, is he gonna just place blame on that firm? Is that what is he trying to scapegoat? And then there's also the whole thing with Dirk being brought in as an advisory role. Like, is he just another PR shield to kind of like, put a tourniquet on things going a little awry? Like that's
like
just the thing. Like I was listening to Mavs Moneyball with Kirk Henderson. We've spoken about him before on our podcast. Shout out to Kirk. And also, sorry, I forgot to say shout out to S earlier. But he was kind of like him and I were talking a little bit, and because he let me up in his room, we were talking a little bit, and that's just really what he said. Like, it just feels like Dirk is just being thrown as just a PR meat shield in all of this, because like, of course the fans are gonna really dig the fact that Dirk is back with us, even like for an advisory role. But it's just, is it really, if something goes wrong, are people gonna kind of turn on Cuban, or are they gonna turn more on Dirk? Which I don't think they ever would, but you never know. Fans are always fickle. Let's be real here.
I mean, I would hope not because, he was the face of the franchise
Yeah,
for so long
yeah,
and he did win the title and they even come on, to pay respect to him, they even named a street after him in Dallas. So it's
yeah,
like, come on. I would hope that's not the case because, he's trying to help out. He's always been a genuine human being that always wants to help out whenever he can. I mean, when he was playing, there's times where he took a pay cut just to get the better pieces around him. And
Yep.
And not many good players, elite players, are willing to do that, and he did. So
And
that's
then
why, like,
also, yeah, Kirk also mentioned that pretty much Dirk in his tenure, he's had moments where he's gotten on mark. So like Dirk, in some regards, like he seems like a very nice guy, which I was like, oh, I hope he's not just going to be the nice guy. But I think Dirk being the fact that he's actually gotten on Mark Cuban before on certain things, I think it's going to work out, hopefully. But
mhm.
I think with their relationship, I think it will steer them in the right direction. The thing is though, they need to let go of Bob Vulgaris because he just seems like kind of the chaotic aspect of all this as well. So and because you can always find an analytics guy, and again, putting Shane Battier like in that is going to be okay if they get Shane Battier. Like I don't know what else to say on that, but I think and that's the thing. When all of this news broke out, the Mavericks fans were like, "Oh, Rome is falling. Oh, the sky, it's crumbling before our eyes." That's how everybody was acting, dude. Even people like and okay, of course, this is no disrespect to Brian Zillum because he holds way more standing in the Mavericks community than I can ever hope to have. But the thing is, he made a Twitter post that was like the worst owners in the league, like a poll, and he put Mark Cuban on there, and I'm like, come on, dude, this is just reactionary. Like James Dolan is obviously the worst owner in the NBA. One
Wait,
great season is not going to change that. You know what I mean?
Wait, um, Bob Dole, I forget
James
who.
Dolan from
Oh,
the
James.
Knicks.
Oh, yeah.
Did I
Sorry,
say
I
Bob?
couldn't. Yeah, I think you
Oh, I'm
did.
sorry. I didn't mean to say Bob Dolan. James Dolan. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, in all the years we watched the Knicks, you and I, I'm sure Nate, we all grew up watching the Knicks in the '90s, dude. They were killer.
oh,
But yeah, so I mean, with them and Ewing and all that, but just to see New York in this past decade, how terrible they've
Two
been run.
decades even.
yeah, 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 two
Well, yeah, let's
decades.
say yeah, you're right. It's 2 decades. That's how terrible they've been run. It's just like, bro, and I feel bad for the fans, especially those like the elite fans that diehard fans. People like Spike Lee is like, dude, what's going on with the Knicks? I mean, they this past season, they made it into the playoffs, right at the beginning, and I saw some potentially good things coming out of New York again. So I would wish that they build on that for the future,
Yeah.
because we've
Mhm.
seen the Knicks just suck for too long, man. So let's hope this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and the thing is with the whole thing with Julius Randle, and I know people are really off on Julius Randle right now because he didn't do as well in the playoffs. I just don't think it was a good enough matchup for like that wasn't a good matchup for him. They were really just targeting his ass the entire fucking series. And he had one good game in the series, but after that it was just hard for him to really get going because it felt like he was trying to carry most of the ball and Derrick Rose played a really good role in that. But in the end, I think it's really going to be interesting to see what happens if they retain Julius Randle after being like named most improved player of the year. So, I mean, I don't know. I think you give him at least one more shot and then you can, I guess, toss him aside if he doesn't do well again. I don't know. We'll see what happens from that perspective. But as far as that is concerned, um, I guess we can try and quickly move on to coaches so we can get to Nate, man. Nate's been kind of just in the wings, man. I want to make certain we
Hey,
get you some talking, man.
hey, so good, so good. Oh, you should like with the coaches. I would like one coach I definitely like to see the Mavs get is Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah,
I, I,
right. That's
I,
one of
I,
the people I thought too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like he's a real good coach. He got a raw deal in Brooklyn because I think what Kyrie didn't want him or KD wanted to like pick their own coach and they picked Steve Nash. But
yeah, and
yeah,
that's what I think is ridiculous because that's who was vying for that job, and he was definitely a front runner until everyone was like Steve Nash. I was like, what? That was so out of left field.
yeah,
Yeah, and granted, like props to Nash. I mean, he's a former Maverick, so I always
oh yeah,
I was a huge Steve Nash fan growing up. Like, and then it was sad when he left for Phoenix, but I still followed him because he was amazing, and I always wanted to be like Steve Nash. But the thing is, yeah, Kenny Atkinson definitely has a lot of coaching experience. He definitely is a little bit more defense oriented. I at least from what I've seen,
Yeah.
which could be very helpful. But again, as far as coaching, that's again still going to be dependent upon the GM. Again, I've talked with
Yo,
Kirk Henderson about it, and it's kind of how it is, which is logical, obviously. Another coach that has been kind of thrown around is well, I mean, of course, Jamal Mosley, who's the assistant coach at the current moment. And there's a lot of people that are kind of vying for him. And you know, if he gets it, great. But again, it's just one of those things that it's like we need to really just look out of ourselves first before settling in. You know what I mean? So Kenny Atkinson's definitely one. Becky Hammond is another one. She's been an assistant coach for the Spurs under Greg Popovich. She was a former WNBA player, and from what I've heard, she's really good. I That would be a huge deal to get her. But right now, I think the Celtics and the Portland Trailblazers are interested in her. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. If none of them get her, and we don't get any of the other names we mentioned, that would
mm,
definitely be a good name to get. I think. At least I hope.
Well, I mean, looking at her being, under the tutelage of Popovich, I mean, the most winningest coach in NBA history as far as active coaches. I mean, I don't think you could get a better pick than that to say, but not to disregard the other picks that they've mentioned. So, hey,
Yeah, exactly. And then there's been some there's been some people that have been saying it, and but a lot of Mavericks fans are really like, nah, we ain't doing that. Jason Kidd. And look, I love Jason Kidd when he was with the Mavericks, but come
man,
on, man. We've already seen his history with the Bucks, with the Nets. Why
it's
would you
just
want that? And I granted you could say, oh well, he won a championship as an assistant coach with the Lakers. Yeah, assistant coach, not
yeah.
head coach.
People need to know the difference. Like, look, a coach is an important role, whether assistant or head, but there is a big difference between an assistant coach and a head coach.
Well, no, but then there's always there's nuance to it too, though. I mean, which I can understand. Like, there's some assistant coaches that end up being a little bit better than the head coach. Like, let's be honest. And again, no disrespect to Steve Nash, but are we really sure it's really Steve Nash running that bracket? No,
Oh, of
it's
no.
course not.
it's D'Antoni. It's D'Antoni. Let's be real.
Yeah, well,
And
what I
oh,
mean,
and as
it's
speaking of which, that's another name that has kind of come up in the discussion, Mike D'Antoni.
Yep.
Granted, it would help Luca unlock another potential as a willing ball handler because we've seen how he takes these passing guards and makes them freaking amazing. So on that aspect it would be okay, but I think yet again that would be a very short-sighted pick because of the fact that he doesn't run a very defense oriented squad, and we already suffer from that to begin with. So
yeah. See, excuse me. Yeah, see, my issue with D'Antoni is I'm not saying he's a good coach. He is, but there's most of the times that I've seen him run a team, and he's run some pretty good teams. Like with Houston, I thought he did pretty good in Houston when Harden was there, but it's like they just couldn't get over that hump when it came time for the playoffs because, like you said, he's not really keen on defense, and that's my only gripe with D'Antoni. So, it's I don't know. Yeah, he wouldn't be my first choice. Let's just say.
yeah, I mean, because okay, and then there's one more coach I want to say, and he's he's kind of mid to lower rung on this because a lot of people don't really favor him right now, and his team is playing today, and that's Mike Budenholzer. If they lose, Mike Budenholzer's probably gonna be gone,
Yeah.
and I think this is just me because of the way he runs that offense with Giannis as the ball handler. And again, people can take this as they will. I think it would be interesting to see Budenholzer as the coach for the Mavs for the sole fact that he has a better ball handler in that position. And I think there could be some potential unlocked in that regard. Granted, the only downside to Bud is, yet again, rotations. He doesn't adjust as well. So that's the only gripe that would kind of keep me from really choosing him. But again, because he's played his star player at that ball handling position, maybe with a better ball handler such as Doncic, maybe it could work. But again, that's just more of a shooting in the wind idea. You know what I mean? But overall, definitely, I'm more leaning towards Kenny Atkinson, and well, also Terry Stotts has also been thrown into the fray as well. He was the coach for the Trailblazers. Um, it's like he actually did coach the Mavs at one point. So do we go back to a guy we've already had before? I mean, he's actually had pretty decent success with Damian Lillard. Granted, this season was kind of not as good, but it's still he still has helped Dame unlock certain potential. So we'll see on that. I mean, if anything, my top three, I should say top four, because I mean, it's definitely Atkinson, Hammond, Stotts, Mosley. Those are my four, like that I really would like to have. Like either any one of those. Like we should look at the first three first, and if we don't really connect well with them or we're not really feeling it, then we'll go with Mosley. But at least give consideration outside of us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm not, and again, it's no disrespect to Mosley, but the only game we've had is one game with him as a head coach because Rick was out for something. I forgot what it was, but they had one game with him, and yeah, they won. But it's just like that is way too small of a sample size to really be like, oh yeah, great head coach. You know what I mean? I mean, and granted,
Yeah.
Luka does like Mosley, so it could. And again, you want to make your player happy. So if that does end up being the case, you might as well just make Luka happy. But at least he should be. And again, he seems like a pretty mature guy, seemingly. He should be at least mature enough to understand that, hey, let's weigh options. And if you're still feeling Mosley, man, fuck yeah, we'll go with Mosley.
Right. There's there's one more guy that they're considering. This is what CBS Sports was talking about. Possibly someone that has coached Doncic, before, and they're considering. But I don't know if it would be viable because he coached his lone season in the NBA and it didn't go so well. They were considering Igor Kokoskov, that led the Slovenian national team in 2016 and 2017, and with Doncic as his primary ball handler. So, but his stint in the NBA didn't, like I said, it was not all that great because he I think he coached the Suns and they fired him after a 1963 campaign. So, but he does know Doncic because he's coached him. So, but I don't know. He's a coach that has never really coached NBA basketball, American basketball.
Well, I mean,
So
he did, but like he hasn't had as much. I mean, and granted, I'll at least entertain the fact that he has worked with Doncic, and that could be a good thing. Or maybe they have him as an advisory role. Like, didn't Dirk have a guy that was kind of an advisory coach to him? Like
yeah,
he would kind of coach with him every day. I forget his name, but he was really
yeah,
cool.
it was Dirk's coach ever since he was little, or in school. He's coached him most of his life.
Yeah, let me look up his name.
Um,
But like, if we could get a guy like that to at least be on the sidelines for Doncic, then I think that could be good. Let's see, Dirk's coach.
yeah, you should find it very quickly.
Uh, Holger, uh, Holger Geschwinde.
Yeah, that's right. That's him. I mean, he's the one that has groomed Dirk into the player he was before he got drafted, and even after he was drafted. So maybe that I wouldn't mind entertaining that idea for Doncic, at least to help him improve. So
Yeah, well, and then also Dirk in general could also be that advisory role too. So I don't know. He has there are options to make Doncic more willing to And again, he's gonna sign that contract. Let's not get it twisted. Despite all the chaos, he's gonna sign the contract.
Mm.
It's just getting the people around him to really keep him here at that point. So, and again, I'm not worried. I am keeping an open mind about all this because I'm not like we've got the change now. We have the options. Let's not freaking go insane because we still have a chance. And granted, yes, there is fear. I get it, but I don't think Mark Cuban is gonna fuck this up this second time around. At least I hope not. So
Yeah, I hope not either, because he really fucked up when he dismantled that championship team the season after when
es
he
en
should have
los
kept it
manos de
together.
Dios.
I know.
Las manos de Dios.
anyway, anyway, man, we'll see. It's gonna be an interesting summer.
Alrighty, so enough about our Mavericks, man. Let's talk about Nate for a quick second, man. So you're a Sixers fan. How are you taking the whole Embiid Simmons grouping now that it's kind of been a few years now? What are you really thinking of its situation?
So pretty much with them, this is honestly one of our better teams that we actually formed around them because pretty much what makes I guess the combination work is actually like spacing. So obviously because you got like MB in the poles and obviously Simmons lets to like drive and kick or kind of like be at the like the top, well not the top of the key but like at the free throw line post and then kind of like operate from there. So pretty much like what we got now because we got like Steph Curry, Danny Green, there's like shooters. We got Tobias Harris a shooter. So definitely like the team we had now like one of like I guess one of the best constructed teams for them. It is that man, I don't know about Ben Simmons, man. Ben Simmons, like he's arguably probably the most fascinating player in the NBA because like he's 6'10", 240, could play point guard, can guard 1 through 5. He's a playmaker, but at the same time, it's like he just doesn't shoot or doesn't want to shoot or I don't know what it is. And then obviously in this series, he's been abysmal from the free throw line. Shoot, all three of us, I'm pretty sure, could shoot better from the free throw line than he's been doing. And I'm not sure why because like his form and everything looks good, it just doesn't go in. And then now it seemed like his confidence is going down. Like I think last game 6, he took like what 6 shots, I think, or like 7 shots. So he didn't play much at all. Like he played between minutes, and then it's kind of like you see like Tyrese Maxey, rookie, outplay him, and then Matisse been getting a lot of minutes. He's been balling out, and they see like Steph Curry doing this thing, and so it's like I don't know. And then like now we're starting to see like a lot of rumors saying like, oh, this Ben Simmons gonna get traded, or we're try to get Damian Lillard, or we're trying to get Bradley Beal on the team.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
it's
mean
a
like
crazy whirlwind.
yeah. So I mean like I'm still a big fan of Ben Simmons, like because I know what he does well, but at the same time what he doesn't do well is kind of hurting us in the same time. So it's kind of like that, but hopefully we get a good performance out of him for Game 7. Even if it's like a defensive like very good game. Hopefully that works out. But yeah, the way it looked like that parents probably gonna split, but it look like probably gonna keep Embiid and then maybe trade Simmons, but I'm not 100% sure, unfortunately.
Yeah. But anyhow, let's before we go back to the sports aspect, let's kind of talk more about your time as a YouTuber, your channel in general. Um, as far as concerned, you are mainly doing reaction items like reaction to music, reaction to just most things. Like, what prompted your journey to going into the reaction side of YouTube?
Okay, so pretty much like just give out like my history and like YouTube in general. So I actually originally started my YouTube channel because back in 2019 I was doing CrossFit. So I was like, oh, I started CrossFit. I'm like, oh, I'm a document my CrossFit journey. So it's kind of funny because I really didn't do much like documenting that. aspect wise, I actually started my YouTube channel like doing like music like album reviews. So I was doing that for a good while back in 2019, and then I'm not sure why, because I was getting good like some views and some like action on the videos, but I switched from like album reviews, and then I started, I guess, kind of transitioned to like kind of do like personal development videos. So it's kind of like doing like lifestyle videos or kind of like maybe little fashion videos, and then eventually I kind of like moved to reaction videos because I saw like how much like the views they would get, or maybe like some like the engagement they would get. So I kind of been doing that ever since, and like I like it because you kind of like be able to, like you could like be yourself. You can kind of like just like pause video, give your opinion, or you can, like laugh at something, or you can like joke around with something. There's like music video, kind of like point out some things, or it was like a or maybe like even like a sports top 10, then you get to like, oh wait, you put that 10, or why put that 2, or something like that. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you can just be like your own like entertainer in a way, and plus like they're pretty easy to do. So it's kind of like you record, kind of like do little small edits, but it's not too much like editing wise, and they just upload it. So that's a big reason why I got into reactions. But now recently I've been doing like more vlogs. I've been doing some unboxing videos in between. So pretty much for me, I'm not sure it's gonna be the smartest idea, but I kind of want to make my channel like content. So like I really want to be like my channel be about one thing, which I know is kind of I guess not bad, because a lot of times you get, like you got like people that do like 2K primarily, or people that do Madden primarily, or people that talk NBA, or people that do sneakers and stuff like that. So they probably got like their own like channel, but I don't know. I kind of want to do something different. I kind of just want to be just content on my channel. So I kind of see how it goes. I mean, it's going pretty good so far, but that's kind of like my idea right now. Go to YouTube.
That's pretty cool, man. So, I mean, as far as still within that same vein, what
Yep.
is the probably your more favorite type of things to react to? Is it more of the music? Is it more of the funny shit that you see? Is it more of like what more do you like reacting to?
Okay, so I'll probably say music is up there for sure. Like I'm a big fan of music. Like I'm always listening to music pretty much everywhere I go. Like going to work, to clean up my room, to whatever. Just pretty much anywhere I go or anything I'm doing, I normally have music playing. So I definitely say music's up there. I like to do like top 10 lists, or maybe like someone puts a video like best Kanye West songs, or some like best so songs, or like maybe like Colin Cowherd that has like top 10 players in the NBA right now. So it's kind of controversial like videos. So it's kind of like, wait, you put that player at number 8. I think he might be like number 4, or somebody at number 4. Like, wait, put number 4. So it's kind of like you can kind of give your opinion. You kind of like make it more entertaining. So I definitely probably say music, and then maybe like top 10 lists, and I do like some funny videos too. Like maybe like some TikTok videos, or like TikTok like funniest moments or something like that I'm doing there. So I'll definitely
Yeah,
say that for sure.
that's pretty awesome. So, I mean, Mario over here, he has his own channel that he hasn't really been at in a while because he was trying to finish his degree and all that. He also does reaction stuff. Like I'm there once in a while, and he's trying to his deal is he's mainly trying to get into gaming. But yeah, hopefully at some point we could probably do some reactions with you or something.
Oh yeah,
But here's the thing though. As far as let's get into more like some of the nitty gritty stuff about YouTube, because I mean we kind of I kind of met you at kind of slight beginning stages
yeah.
of your career. Um, like what were the hardest parts about getting to the point you're at right now?
Um, I probably say the hard part is just trying to figure out, trying to figure out things that people will like want to see or like to see, and same time that you want to record. Like that's kind of the hardest part, because like you see like a lot of YouTubers, they either stop doing YouTube or they get burnt out because they're uploading content that yes people like to see, or people go to the channel, but at the end of the day they really don't like doing those kind of videos. So it's kind of like you you kind of like lose like energy. So like, and plus like people definitely can tell that on like when they're watching your videos. It's kind of like, hey, like this person either does have energy or like you can tell like the vibe is off. So like that's kind of
Yeah.
the biggest thing is kind of figure out like what's some videos that people will like click on like want to see, but same time videos that I want to do. So that was kind of the hardest thing. And the second thing was kind of like figure out like how to promote videos because obviously you see all the videos. Oh yeah, you can promote on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but it's so hard to kind of push a channel out because like obviously there's so many people trying to do the same thing. So you like you try to either like create like different hashtags or try to follow some hashtags or you trying to like go like on like a popular post and kind of like post videos there, see maybe people can click. So like you gotta be creative where like promoting and stuff like that. So and then like another thing is that obviously I work a regular 9 to 5 job, so kind of like trying to put YouTube with that as well because like there's a lot of times I was coming home from work, I'm like I want to record, but I'm like I just don't have the energy, and then like I don't want to do a reaction video. I'm like, oh yeah, that was cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's
so
just
like yeah, because like I know
oh
reaction videos,
yeah.
you can like
Going to
yeah
sleep.
like because like I know reaction videos like you gotta at least have some energy, like you gotta at least be like excited about what you want to watch or excited when you react to the video. So that's another thing. It's like that. Like sometimes you just don't want to record for like a day or two. So that's probably like the main things I probably say for sure.
So, hey, Marty, do you have any questions for Nate, man? Just to kind of, get some of your thoughts?
No, I mean, as a YouTuber, that feels like I kind of feel like I'm a little late to the game in this as well. But just to see that you know you have your struggles as well. Because like I said, it was just balancing school and work. But now that I'm done with school, I should be able to balance it a little bit better with doing videos. It's just, but yeah, you know, based on what you were saying and what you do, I'm trying to do the same thing. Not just trying to pigeonhole myself into just doing one thing, but trying to just be open to everything, not just gaming, but reactions and all that. Because I try to look as like everyone's doing reactions. It
Yep.
depending on what you do, I'm sure someone's gonna like it, and hopefully it just has a snowball effect to where it grows. But I mean, you know what? Well, you know what? When you do a reaction video, like, what makes you decide, like, oh, I want to react to this, or I want to react to this? Like, what makes that deciding factor for you? Is like, oh, today I'm gonna react to this, that kind of thing. What makes what goes through your head when you decide to choose what to react to?
So pretty much with me, because like do like music reactions, like I normally try to like pick like songs that like recently came out or like recently came out on YouTube. So normally like new music drops on like that like Friday at midnight. So normally I try to like that Friday or Saturday try to get like a reaction in because I think when I reaction videos like you can't really wait too long to do them because obviously by the time the whole like YouTube is just flooded about that song. So like for example um I think Megan Thee Stallion dropped like a recent song, but like after like a day or so, you see like 50, 100 of videos of everybody doing the same reaction to the same song. So it's kind of like you gotta get there quick. You gotta promote pretty early with like kind of like videos like that. But then at the same time, I might be like, hey, or sit down like or like I might see like a video on like Twitter that someone like posting there. Like I might be like, oh, that's I might see like a quick like 30-second snippet of it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me put that like in like my watch later, and then maybe like later on, like in a week or a couple weeks from now, I'm like, oh, you know what? I saw the video I want to react to, so I'll just do that. So, um, it pretty much just varies on. It just depends on what I react to. Like music, I do quickly. It was like a top 10 list. I could kind of wait a little bit, do one. So it's kind of like that, pretty much.
Yeah, and then at that point, it's like when you're still kind of growing as a channel. Hopefully, at some point, it's just also trying to get community engagement of like people trying to, hey, send me your videos, send me what you want me to react to, and I'll do it. So that becomes another thing in itself. It's just also gaining a community and all that. And Nate has been really growing pretty steadily, and he's like how you're almost to that. Yeah, that's what I forgot to mention. You're almost to that 600 subscriber mark.
Yes.
So
Yep. I'm at 587 right now. So yeah, 13 away. So Yeah, I've just been growing steadily. I obviously I kind of feel like I should be growing a little bit faster, but I know kind of like with YouTube, you gotta be like you just kind of gotta be like organic, kind of with the growth. You kind of gotta be like okay, at least like getting at least like getting subscribers, at least like getting likes, comments on the videos. So you kind of want to rush the process, but at the same time you can't really. So it's kind of like that kind of that's kind of like another thing as well. It's kind of like you kind of feel like you should be growing at a faster pace than you are, but it's like at the end of the day, like the first like 1,000 subscribers is always gonna be the hardest ones. Like that's gonna be like the hardest part of YouTube. Is kind of like get like the first 1,000 subscribers, getting like that entry point. It's kind of like trying to get your name out there, trying to grow your own community, and things like that. So that's definitely another I guess difficult part.
Yeah, man. But either way, it's no short task, man. And it's I'm happy for you that you're getting to that point. Hopefully someday I can catch up. But right now, I'm just like you said, you got to make it organic. You got to take it as it comes because everything will come in its time. So
Yes. Yeah, it goes for everyone. I mean, YouTube is for everyone to use, and we just got to take it, little by little, and one day we'll get to where we need to be, like all these other YouTubers have. I mean, if we think about it, like I said, we may be a little late to game because a lot of these other YouTubers started, 10 years ago. It was starting to, people didn't think about it back then, like, oh, you can't make money off YouTube or there's things like that. But then people started just creating content, and it just this past decade it's just boomed. So
Yep.
now everyone sees like, oh, hey, everyone can do this. So yeah, it'll take some time, but I believe, we'll get there. Who knows? One day we may all hit that million subscriber mark one day.
if that happens, dude, that would be so nice because then I could actually get back to doing. And granted, I'll still find ways to get back to doing what I'm wanting to do, and because our main passion has also been music as well, because we got our degrees in music and all of that. Um, my hope is to get back to singing on stage. That would be something fun to do again. I mean, because I also have another channel of my own. It's called Mark the Tenor, and right now it's mainly some videos of me performing in like my recitals and also cover songs. And maybe when things get a little bit better for me, I can start to write because I have lyrics. I just need to write melodies and then just maybe find somebody to collaborate on how to like position like the theory aspect of it to kind of help me make it really sing like because I hear it in my mind, it just needs to like find its place on a paper. That's really what it amounts to.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that's a hard part. Like you might have like a bunch of ideas in your head, but you trying to like write them down. It's kind of like, I don't know, or like it might not come out right. We trying to like think like when we try to write it down or something like that. So I understand that for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just a
For
mindset you got to put yourself into, and it can be tough. So, but we'll get there.
Yeah, but overall, let's kind of just for the last bit of time, let's kind of talk a little bit about the current situation with like the playoffs because I kind of wanted to give our idea, like our thoughts and just kind of our slight predictions in the end of all this. So last night the Sixers won. Your Sixers won 104 to 99.
Bro.
Yeah, and
That that
that was a
game,
pretty tough game. Like
that
Embiid
game,
has been
bro.
struggling as far as like because he's looked gassed because he's having to do so much.
yep,
And then it's a good thing that Curry and Harris and even Maxi that last night, like you had been saying, stepped up. And again, it's really gonna take another game. Like I think it was game 4, like Ben Simmons, game
yeah,
4.
yep,
It's gonna take another game like that for the Sixers to come out of this series.
Yeah, I mean, cause look, I watched a bit of the game at work yesterday, and they were going back and forth, back and forth. So when I saw the Sixers pull away, I was like, oh man, Game 7, how's that? Because it almost looked like Atlanta was gonna, finish this off, but no, they didn't. Sixers finished, were able to hold strong. So, but like you said, Game 7, it's still anybody's game. Atlanta, they're no scrubs, man. They can
Yeah, Trey Young
get
has
you.
really come into his own this year,
Yeah.
man.
Did you see that? Did you see that crazy shot last night that Trey made?
Yes.
Oh my god, dude.
Trey is on a whole nother level, man.
Man. So, we got a lot of family members that live in Atlanta, so they're raving about their Hawks to do it. But like you said, the Sixers got to be on it. So Simmons has got to bring it, man. Otherwise, that's it for them. Come when do they play again?
Sunday.
Yeah, they play
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
On
So
Father's Day.
Yep.
yeah. So they got to bring
Dia
it,
del
man.
Padre. Hmm.
They got to bring it.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a great game, like no matter what. And then tonight is another pivotal game. But before we get to that, let's also talk about the other game that was yesterday, which was the Clippers. The Clippers came out on top and have pretty much broken. Well, I shouldn't say that because everyone's like, "Oh, they broke the curse." It's like, I mean, you got to the conference finals. Congratulations. I mean, and granted, yeah, I shouldn't be that much of a dick about it, but pobrecitos, they've been the laughing stock of the league for ages.
Yep.
Yes, but hey, think about this. They've every time the Clippers have made the playoffs, they've always been knocked out in the semifinals. If you think about it, and the last time they went there was when Chris Paul was there.
Hmm.
He couldn't get them to the conference finals. But look at this. Now Chris Paul's with the Suns, and they've made it, and he's now made it past the semifinals to the conference
Well,
finals.
no,
So
he's
that's
made it past he's made it to the conference finals with Harden before.
that's right with Houston. I'm
Yep.
sorry, I forgot about that. But hey, you still got to give the Clippers credit for finally getting to the conference finals.
Yeah.
It. I was telling Mark last time, like this was this is a very, up in the air. This title's up for grabs because one, the defending champs have been knocked out, the Lakers have been knocked out, and the runner-ups were knocked out, which were the Heat. So this is up for grabs, for anyone. So it'll be really nice to see, and it kind of sucks because I really like the Clippers, and I would like to see them win a title for once. But I also like the Suns, and they've never won either. So, it's
Yeah,
a
I
tough
know.
one
It's
for
hard
me.
to vie for the which underdog to go for. Some people don't view them as underdogs, but whatever. I mean, right now the Clippers do not have Paul George. He may be. I mean, not Paul George. Kawhi Leonard. He may
Yep.
be out for the rest of the season. He may be.
Did it? I didn't hear how.
It's
What's
a
the
knee
problem?
injury, and it may be either ACL or MCL, one of the two. So
Damn.
if that is because I don't think they've really released everything about it. But if that is the case, then yeah, man, that's gonna suck because Kawhi really did what he could, and Paul George, kudos to him for stepping up when he needed to. He and that's the thing. I hate it when people would give Paul George crap. And granted, yeah, it sucks that he had his struggles. Yeah, and granted, yes, some of it was definitely on himself. He shouldn't have been proclaiming himself as playoff P.
He,
But but at the
He
same
made
time,
that. Oh, he made that.
yeah, it's like
yep. Yeah, he
you're
made
about to
that.
see playoff P. He said that. I'm like, oh, okay,
Mm.
we'll see. And again, like I'm glad that he's back at the conference finals because we hadn't seen them there since the Pacers days.
Yep.
So I mean, and again, like, and as much as I really like Dom 2K, he kind of was like, what do we really see in Paul George, or why do we have the ideas we have about Paul George? It's like because of the Pacers, dude. Why would we not?
Hey,
I know he struggled as of late, but come on, man. Like he's not a
it's
bad player.
dude. I don't know what Dom's thinking, but it's like, bro, Paul George is no scrub. You gotta give him his
And
dues, man.
I'm not saying that he thinks he's a scrub, but it's just like he doesn't think he's on the level that he probably should be, and which for good reason, I do agree. But like, it's not that he is incapable, is the thing, and that's the thing. I think this was definitely needed. He needed to have these past two games
Yep.
to prove his capability again.
Absolutely, but what I mean is, if you look at what he's been through, man, that's not easy. It's not easy to, come out. We all saw that terrible injury he suffered. That
Oh yeah.
that usually usually like in the past, I mean, you guys would know that would be a career-ending injury. But luckily with medicine, how it's improved, it's not so much anymore. But even then, to snap your leg like that, that's really hard to come by. So maybe it could be psychological. You could be suffering psychological problems like, oh man, am I able going to be keep up? Is my leg going to hold out for me
Yeah,
moving forward? So that could be been on his mind because those injuries are, they can rattle you. So I still give credit for credit is due, especially for what he's had to go through, and I pray him success. So that's why with Kawhi out, he's gonna really have to, step up even a little bit more. But
and the thing is, I'm also conflicted too, because we have Chris Paul, and we don't know. I think, like me and Mario have discussed this. I think he's coming back. I think he would come back game 3 at the most, if all of this is the case. If Chris Paul is still out, he would probably come back at either game 2 or 3. Um,
yeah, did they say I did not quite hear what was wrong with Paul? Like,
well, he
what did
got
he?
COVID. I mean,
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Oh, yep.
It was because when I heard it break that he wasn't gonna play, it wasn't really clear. So that's why I asked. Sorry.
yeah. So he got COVID. I mean, he was vaccinated, but again, and this is the problem. And I hope to God people don't really take this the wrong way, because it's like, look, yes, vaccines do work, people. Let's not, just because one instance of something happening like this does not mean vaccines don't work. So let's not go crazy about this. And then on the flip side of that, the fact that they allowed LeBron to still play, considering he broke protocol, is kind of unfair.
Oh.
Because LeBron's the NBA. That's why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
No,
look,
no,
I
that's right,
get it,
Nate.
but it's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. No.
No,
No,
we can't.
I
We
feel the same
can't.
way.
Yeah, we can't let her. So you're right, Nate. LeBron James, as of right now, is the face of the NBA. Like how Kobe was in the 2000s, it's now him.
Yep.
And but it's not fair and it's not right for them to give a pass to someone like him
Yep.
when he sets the bar high. Like, dude, you're the face of the NBA. You need to you need to have higher standards for
well, and then
yourself.
also Chris Paul is the basketball. He's the president of the Players Association. He's the president of the Players Association.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
that's
like,
why, Paul should have been like, hey, man, I'm doing co-ed, well, and you bring up, yeah, you're right. He is the president of the association. It would look even worse on him if he broke protocol now. So that's why they need to be a little bit more, they need to be a little bit more strict, especially with people like LeBron James, especially of his status.
I mean, it is what it is. But my hope is that he does come back, because I mean, he provides a very important part of their offense. However, I'm not gonna be too nervous for the Suns, because weirdly enough, Cameron Payne has really has really stepped up out of
Yep.
nowhere. I mean, I granted, I don't see that being like the thing throughout, but he has definitely stepped up a bit, which is nice for the Suns. And Booker's gonna be Booker. The one key detail is Ayton, DeAndre Ayton. If DeAndre Ayton can be more aggressive, I mean, and granted, he did really well with Jokic, but if he could get more aggressive in this series, I think the Suns are winning it.
Yeah.
As much as, like, and see, again, it's tough. As much as I would like to see the Clippers go to the finals, I don't think it's their year, considering that Kawhi is out.
Yeah. The only problem is if the Clippers go small ball, how's that going to affect Aiton? Because obviously
Yeah.
you saw the Jazz, they went small ball, and Rudy Gobert was a non-factor. Like he was pretty much like a liability on the court. So it's kind of like if the Clippers go small ball again, how's that going? Like is Aiton still going to be as effective as he is on court, or
Using
Maybe,
that,
but
using that,
yeah,
using
but
that
the thing
mismatch,
is,
huh?
with Aiton though, he's definitely a lot more mobile than Gobert. And again, and no disrespect to Rudy Gobert, because everyone's just calling him a fraud as of late. Like, you can't really call a defensive player of the year, like 3-time defensive player of the year, a fraud, considering the scheme he had to face. He's a post defender.
Yeah.
He's not a perimeter defender. I do not know what you all are expecting in that regard. And it's not like Gobert never tries. Like I see Gobert like actually run to contest for the perimeter. It's
Yep.
just that's not where his strong suit is. You know, it's like everyone's expecting him to like get every freaking steal or every freaking block. That's there's other metrics to designate what is a good defensive player, guys. Let's
Oh man. See, come on. Look, it's only a matter of time. The Jazz have done really well this year. So it's just the Clippers were able to outdo them. But it's only a matter of time before we see the Jazz take off and maybe go to the finals.
well, and that's going to
So
depend on what happens in this off season.
I
But
know, but
but
it's like,
yeah,
come on, don't do that. And you were telling me about how all these other guys that were just hating on him. I was like, come on, man, I've seen him play. Yeah, he may off games, but he's no he's no slacker. Come on.
yeah, and granted, yes, the whole deal is he's not um, a dynamic offensive player like Shaq, but it's just like he's a different type of player,
He's
dude.
not
Yeah.
Shaq, man.
And that's
Stop
the thing that
comparing him to him.
and that's the thing that pissed me off about Shaq. It's like, dude, like just stay in your lane. You already have your legacy. Just stop. Just be quiet. Like you already have what you got. So why are you hating on people? Like I wish and everybody's been saying this. I wish older players would be more like Allen Iverson, who's just a lot more just, yeah, dude, like you do you, keep going instead of overly criticism. I mean, criticism is okay, but when you're just every freaking time,
Yep.
cada vez, like,
Dude,
dude,
yeah. What they did to Allen Iverson, man, I really think that he should at least had a title when had with his time in Philly. But he just feels like it's just feel to me. Okay, this is just my view, but it just felt like a lot of people high up in the NBA just did not like him. I don't know if it was, I don't know what it was, but it's like he was just under scrutiny all the
there was a
time.
lot of factors because before he came into the league, he had that whole issue at a bowling alley,
Oh, yep.
and yeah, with that whole court issue, and that kind of put a bit of a black mark on him. And then
Yeah.
coming into the league, it didn't help. And granted, look, I think it's stupid in general because he brought the whole like long, short, baggy
Yep.
jersey type vibe to the league, and
Yeah.
that's what kind of like, and he pretty much created a subculture within the league itself that kind of went throughout. Like Allen Iverson is just as important to this league as anybody.
I mean,
And
everyone,
it
yeah,
does, it is very unfortunate that he didn't win a championship. Part of it was on his own fault, but part of it was also the
Yeah.
league. Like
yeah,
it was a mixture of both. But Allen
yeah.
Iverson definitely is a very respectable. He's respectable still,
Oh, yeah.
in my opinion. And the fact and the way he treats modern players is nice. Like I wish more people would at least be more accepting of the way these modern players play. Because Kenny Smith was for a while, but I don't know why he changed his tune all of a sudden. He's acting all freaking
He's acting
weird
like
all
an
of a
old
sudden.
man.
Well, no, but Kenny always seemed to be very like complimentary of players. But nowadays, I don't know. Maybe he's been hanging around Shaq and Charles too much.
He's Shaq is probably rubbed off on him
Shaq is a
too
hater,
much.
dude. He's a
I
straight
don't know
up
why
hater.
he's so. I don't know why he's so. He says some very savage things sometimes. I'm like, okay,
That's
dude, slow
true.
down, man. It's like
It's
I feel like the only one that's
especially with Donovan Mitchell and freaking Rudy Gobert. Everyone was like, Donovan Mitchell's just being soft. It's like, no, he's not. How would you feel being freaking insulted on live national television? Like, come on, man. Like, he's a man with pride. Like, obvious, and this bullshit, like, oh, he didn't live up to the challenge. Bullshit, he didn't. He was the main
Best
reason.
player.
Yeah, he was the main reason they were in this fucking like. That's the thing. Fans are so ridiculous, and
haters are
older
gonna
players are
hate,
starting
man.
to get on my nerves. I get it. Like they played the game and they've really done it all, but it's not the same league now,
It's
guys. Like
another era now. I mean, like you got to think about it. Shaq and a lot of them came in the '90s and played through the 2000s, and those two were two different decades, two different
different
eras.
styles of basketball.
Yeah. So I mean, the game has changed so much. since we were kids watching them. So it's like,
Hmm.
you gotta. It's like, bro, if you don't like the way it's going, then why don't you go join the NBA and make changes within the organization? But they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, because they just want to hear themselves talk. Um,
Yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah. That's why they're analysts and hosts of shows, man.
yeah, but yeah. Anyhow, enough about that aspect. Like tonight is a very pivotal game between the Bucks and the Nets.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see. And like last night, the big switch was Giannis on KD, and that really gave KD some trouble. So if the Bucks were to utilize that same type of rotation tonight, the Bucks may very well win this series. And with Harden kind of hobbled, like he played really well despite that, but can you really rely on him to be that way every night? Because just the game before, KD had to do everything pretty
Yep.
Well,
much.
dude, did you see what he put up? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
dude, he
dude,
he put up a
49
49-point
points,
triple double.
Yep. Yep.
triple
Yep.
double.
He played all 48 minutes too.
Yeah,
Dude, it's like I haven't seen that kind of play since Dirk played against him in the 2011 semifinals, and Dirk put up those numbers, and he
except
took
except
up.
maybe not assists, but yeah, I see what you mean. He was like really going off, but this is on another level, dude, because you're playing against because KD was still kind of young at that point. Like this is against a two-time MVP, dude.
Well, yeah. Now,
This is
this is
crazy.
this is 10 years later, and
Yeah.
he's worked up some titles, and yes, MVP. So he's learned a thing or two. So KD, if Harden is still not at 100%, he's gonna have to put up that same type of game. So
Well, and then also Jeff Green is going to have to come back because that was another reason why they did so well in that other game.
Yep.
Jeff Green has to hit his shots because when Jeff Green is on fire, dude, he's crazy. Like, but yeah, that's as far as the Nets. What the Nets have to do is just be aggressive, and Jeff Green just has to hit his shots, and KD's just going to have to really go off because Harden can only do so much being hobbled. For the Bucks, they just have to go for the kill shot here. They just got
yeah,
to hit them while they're down.
Yep.
yeah, dude. This is amazing. Two Eastern Conference semifinal series at going to 7 games. Whew. So, Nate, what are your thoughts about tonight's game? Who do you think?
So I mean, like for the Bucks to win, like kind of like Mark was saying, they have put the Nets like a whole quick, like they gotta get to a quick start, and like they just gotta keep putting them away because you can like even let the Nets hang around for like second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. They got KD. They got KD. Still got James Harden, who's not 100%, but he still can find a way to get shots off. So the Bucks just can't let the Nets like hang around into the fourth quarter because they still got too much firepower just to hang around. And then for the Nets to win, yeah, like they're gonna need another big, like probably like another like at least 40 point game I think from KD. I think to win. So thing is, what the Nets are at home. The Nets are home, right?
Yeah, they have home court.
Okay, so yeah, that's tough. See, I probably say I probably say the Bucks probably will win slightly. I probably say it's probably like I can see like a 2 win, like a 2 point win, like kind of that comes down to a wire kind of thing. But it wasn't probably the Nets one either. Like KD has like a big game, and then Harden finds
Yeah,
his way. So, but yeah, I'll say Bucks by two.
yeah.
By
I'm gonna
two.
say I'm gonna say Bucks by 5 because
Alright.
sometimes throughout the series, Harden has had a knack of like making very errant passes. So
Yeah.
if you get Harden like to make some mistakes passing wise, that kind of kills the flow of your offense.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
they've actually done pretty decent doing that. And of course, again, if Giannis plays the defense he can play on KD, then I think it's going to come down to a couple buckets because it's going to be somebody making a mistake and then one team capitalizing it. And I think it's more likely going to be the Bucks doing that. And again, it's going to be an amazing game. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no stake in this fight. None of these are my teams, but it's either way. It's going to be really cool.
Right. For me, man, I really liked what the Nets have done, but I think based on everything we talked about, I'm probably gonna side with Nate on this one. Probably Bucks by 2. It's gonna be a very close game. So
Yeah.
unless KD goes off again, which he could, but that's a lot to ask. Doing 2 games like that. So
And I can
we'll
already
see.
hear it. Like, KD can't carry a team. KD can't carry a team. It's like, what do you fucking expect, dude? Like, why does and this has been the narrative. And granted, I used to be like that, and then I thought, you know what, dude? I don't think it's kind of unfair to ask anybody to carry a team that is not 100% healthy. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Jordan. Jordan, in his early part of the career, had to carry people that were freaking on crack.
Oh
Like, I'm not
man.
kidding. Like,
Yeah. No. 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 I remember. I mean, for those of you, that have not watched The Last Dance, it is a phenomenal
Oh yeah,
documentary.
you gotta watch
It
it.
is just phenomenally done. And yes, I mean, the early '80s Bulls. Yeah, they were. Let's just be honest, they were garbage, and Jordan had to pretty much build that team, uplift that team, and he made it work. But
you had
going
people
back,
out of their prime. Again, you had people that were on drugs because that was a huge issue. That through the late 70s and 80s was a huge pandemic of like cocaine usage.
oh yeah,
Yep.
It was sad. It derailed people's careers.
yeah, it destroyed. And, but you also look at looking back at LeBron James. Was it 2015 or 2017 when they the whole Cavs team was pretty much hurt and just not at 100%, and even James was not at 100%, and he was barely carrying the team, man. So that's why like, okay, you're gonna say that about KD, but then go look at LeBron. Say the same thing about LeBron back then when he had to do something similar, and he was not at 100%. So come on, can't.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Most LeBron fans are gonna use to put him over KD, and it's like we already know he's over KD. You don't have to freaking like. You don't have to tell us that. We know at this current moment, KD is not as good as LeBron. He has the potential to be, but come on, man. Like, that's just such a bullshit argument. Like, leave him alone.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll see, man. It. So as far as our predictions, we'll say Bucks. So I say Bucks in 2. Nate says Bucks in 2. And you say Bucks in 5.
Yeah, so
Yep.
we're all on the Bucks, but yeah, anything's possible in this league. It's gonna be amazing. I'm excited as hell.
All right. And then when do the Sixers and Hawks play again?
They play Sunday,
All
so
Yep.
right. What's your All right, let's do the predictions for that. What do you think, Nate?
Oh man.
I know it's hard. I know you're a Phillies fan, and I have a lot of respect for Philly, man. I personally would like to see him go on to the conference finals. I also like Atlanta, but it's like, it's like, dude, I think it's time for Philly to step up. I
yeah,
haven't seen him do this well. I haven't seen
in
him do this well
ages.
since Iguodala was with them in I think the conference semifinals or conference finals
The
last time. This
semifinals.
was like,
Yep.
I think, was it before 2010 or something like
Yeah,
that? I don't remember.
Mm. Yeah. It's never been a while since we reached the conference finals, so definitely exciting times around here. In Philly, but for tomorrow's game, see the good thing is that we're at home, so we're for the most part been a good team. Not really much in the playoffs, but we know we are good at home. So having a home crowd should be good for us. Biggest thing is like we need an aggressive Ben Simmons. We need Ben Simmons to come out first minute to minute 48. Just be aggressive, attack the paint. I don't care. I don't care how many free throws you shoot. Like just be aggressive. Just put your head down, play your normal game, use your strength, use your speed, and just get to the basket. Be able to kick it out. Just play his game. Like he needs to play his style of basketball because pretty much like everybody else has been pretty good. Like Seth Curry's been balling out great, and B still playing very well with essentially a torn meniscus. So and then Tobias Harris had a bounce back game last game, so he should be pretty good. So if we could get an aggressive Ben Simmons, then we could definitely win this game. So, but Trey Young, man, that man Trey Young is
He's a
I
pest,
mean,
man.
Best,
like,
depending on how you look at it. Yeah.
yeah, like it's him, but like things like Atlanta has so many shooters. Like they got Gallinari, Kevin Herter, they got Bogdanovich, John
Oh
Collins gets
yeah.
through. So
Dude,
I'm like,
freaking
so
Bogdanovich was looking like freaking Kobe in one game. Like freaking shooting faders. I was like, what the fuck, dude? This guy is crazy.
yeah, so like Atlanta's definitely a good team too. So, man, hmm. I'll still probably get the edge to us only because we're at home. I'll probably say another close game, probably Philly by 3. This will be another close game. I can see it. It's probably like getting up in the first quarter. Atlanta comes back, and then we kind of be like a little seesaw going
Mhm.
throughout like the rest of the game. So I can see that. I can see. I would say Philly by 3.
Okay.
Um, with me, when it comes to Ben Simmons, like this series, he seemed a little bit like he hasn't made as many passes and many dimes as he usually
Yeah.
can get. So if he can at least get in a good flow offensively and find like open people, I think that can help. And like you said, just get aggressive. And part of me wonders, and not to try and deviate too much because I'm trying to not waste too many people's time. It almost feels like that's just a Doc Rivers issue too, like the way he's utilizing Ben Simmons. Because
Yeah.
I just feel in some ways that because in before Doc got there, Ben Simmons, I mean, he had his struggles, but he still looked like a very serviceable player, putting at least close to like 18 points a game.
Yep.
He's not even hitting double digits some nights. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering if it's Doc Rivers utilizing him a certain way or what, but I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like Doc Rivers, definitely in his playoffs, he has definitely had some questionable like lineups because like I know like game one, we were down like a little bit, but like he left like the whole like the like all like the whole bench, the whole like second unit was in there for like 10 minutes, and we were from like down like 6 7 points to be down like 20 25. And he's left the bench in there. Everybody's like, what are you doing? Like this is the play, like this is playoffs. Like I understand like this is a game 53 trying to like wrestle players like cool, but like this is the playoffs. Like you gotta get your stars in there. Every team will be down 10 20 points. So it's definitely been a lot of like Doc Rivers that should be getting some blame too. And then like another thing I saw is that like the biggest blown leads in the like the 8 biggest blown leads in the past 2 years, 5 of them has been with Doc Rivers. It was like
Yeah.
three of the
Wow.
Clippers last year, and then no, 2 of the Clippers last year. I think 3 this year with the Sixers or something like that. But so like that's obviously concerning because like you're blowing 20+ point leads, and not like it's the first time. So it's kind of like definitely does like definitely deserves some blame with like lineups and how he probably using Ben Simmons. So
Man,
we'll
I don't
Yeah.
see.
know.
As far as
Uh,
that's concerned, like as long as they can, because they're not going to really put a lid on Trey Young, but if they
Nah,
can at least make him like struggle a little bit, then I think they have some shot. It's really going to amount to like the Sixers defense that has kind of kept him in games all year. If they
yep,
can manage to at least give him trouble, then I think like at least make him make some errant passes. If that
yeah.
happens, I think the Sixers can win this, and I have them winning. I have them winning by like one because it's because we cause Trey Young hits so many threes. He always makes it close games like 1 point or some shit. Like
yep.
that's how I see
Dude,
panning
like
out.
that one shot, man, in the fourth quarter. I think it was in the fourth quarter, man. He
Yep.
just threw it off a buzzer beater and it brought it within one. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
dude. It was well, with me. Yeah, it's going to be hard to shut Trey Young down. So they need to contest him like crazy. But of course, got to get the right matchups so that way he doesn't get around you. But I have a feeling it probably will be maybe close to the same. I'm going to say the Sixers in 5. Just like this past game, they won by 5. I'm going to say about the same 5 for
oh,
them.
okay, by 5 points. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're
So
all
yeah,
on the Sixers train. We're all on the Bucks train.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's either way, it's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyhow, any last minute questions, Mario?
Um, no, not in particular, but may I say it was great great to talk to you, Nate. And I hope that we get to do more stuff like this together in the future, and talk more sports. And who knows, it'd be cool to collaborate with you more.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll definitely be down with that, down for that for sure. So we can definitely, yeah, we definitely just plan stuff in the futures, and yeah, kind of like grow together, just do whatever together. So yeah, I'm definitely down with
Claro
that
que
for
sí,
sure.
dude. We'll definitely try and get you on some more podcasts here, man. I just gotta see how the schedule fits, and we'll definitely try and get you on more.
Cool.
Um, but anyhow, do you want to plug any other stuff before you go? I mean, before we get this situated and ended?
Um, mm, I, I guess another thing is that actually co-host a podcast myself actually called the No Sleep Crew podcast. We started that like a little over a year ago, so it's kind of like me and like three my other friends that I met down here in Maryland. We
Nice.
started that, so um, like the episode that should be coming out pretty soon. So yeah, we know we're doing recordings on Sundays, and we know we like drop it on like the following Sunday morning. So and then yeah, besides that, just again my channel's the Bull Nate. Um, I pretty much just drop videos weekly, not every particular day, but I normally drop like several videos each week. So just and that's about it really.
Andale, yeah, definitely get on. We're on the bandwagon for the Bull Nation.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
actually,
coin.
yeah, that's right. I kind of semi coined that when he was like looking. It's like, what should we call the fan base? Like,
Yeah,
I saw it on Twitter, and
The Bowl
I don't know.
Nation.
It just came to my head. I was like, the Bull Nation. And
I like it. I like it.
yeah,
yes.
since then he's been using it. It's been pretty damn cool, man. But yeah, man, it's been good talking to you, man. It's great to see that you're growing the way you're growing, and I'm really proud of you, man. And you're gonna keep going and grow. It's gonna be an amazing time for you, man.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
expecting big things from you.
Oh yeah, me
Oh,
too.
Alrighty, ándale pues, mi gente. Suscríbete a mi canal, MarkTep25, y también síguenos en Spotify, Twitter, Apple Podcasts y otras cosas. Y también sígueme en Twitter, en Snapchat, Facebook, toda la madre. Ándale pues, mi gente. Adiós, que te vaya bien.
Us.
Y también sigue a MarkTep25 en Locker Room, Twitter y Facebook.